So I'll just kick off with a couple of questions that most of you might be wondering. First of all, what was your inspiration for this story? It's such a unique kind of take on the experience of women in China and also this issue of law. So what was your inspiration?
我有一个朋友是在法律事务所里工作的，就跟片子里面的小峰差不多。然后因为我也不太了解他的工作，某一天有一次很有意思的交谈，然后当时在那个事务所里工作了有大概1年的样子，然后就说到每天很痛苦，她就是一个女性，她很痛苦，刚刚学完法律，没有想到每天要面对这些事情，然后很多问题都是跟女性有关的，那么就跟我聊了很多这方面的事儿。 我就觉得特别有意思，马上就把手上其他正在做的2个剧本放下，就很快的进到他们的事务所做了很多调查，包括其他的事务所的很多律师和当事人进行了会谈，以及看了他们的卷宗，搜集了上百个案例，最后选择了这么10几个跟女性权益和我的片子有关的故事。Please.
So everything actually started with a discussion I had with a friend of mine, and she at the time worked for a law firm, and we had a long talk, and she said that she had been working there for a year and she didn't like it, and the reason for that is because a lot of cases that she's been listening to is something about the suffering of all these women, and so I thought it was fascinating that about the story. So at the time, I actually had 2 stories I was working on. So I decided to somehow put those 2 stories aside and immediately got into this particular storyline. So I actually went into a lot of law firms and interviewed a lot of lawyers, looking at a lot of cases, and then that's how I actually put all the interviews together, and I have chosen 10 of the cases and presented into this, put it into this film, presented on film.
打破了就是原来的那些电视台和那些电影厂这样的那种特别特权性的拍摄和政府性的拍摄，真正的非主流，其实它的绝对数量，不管是作者还是作品非常多，变成了真正的主流。
I'll try. So I can report to you what's going on right now in terms of independent filmmaking in China, especially in the area of documentary filmmaking. And I do think that a lot of people actually got involved, and these are the people that are not trained as in the film industry or by trade. They are not movie filmmakers. These could be painters. These could be poets or sociologists that they just pick up the DV camera and using the PC editing software to actually make documentary films. And I do think that a lot of them start making this, and this actually is something I do think that has changed the landscape of independent filmmaking in China, just because not only that a lot of people start getting involved, and also because these people, they are not trained as filmmakers, they actually bring other disciplines into the landscape of independent filmmaking, and through the different channels in terms of DVDs, in terms of online community, that they get to somehow bypass this governmental-run or state-run TV station or TV studios and really get to show their films. So I do think that in China right now, especially in the documentary field, I will have to say that the so-called non-mainstream filmmaking is now become the mainstream.
有一部分是在几个片子里延续着用的，因为他们都有自己的工作和生活，他们不稳定，就是说，他们一个是可能未必，在参加我拍摄之前并不了解自己是不是真的感兴趣。当然，有的来一演以后特别好。 但是演完以后，他发现自己并不是很有兴趣对表演，虽然很不错，那么他就不再参加了。然后有的他有自己的工作生活有变动，那么有一部分人在延续，但是我的主角其实一直在变。
The protagonist is actually in my different films has been changing, but I do think that some of the amateur actors and actresses in my films that you can see some of them actually stay. So I would say, definitely say that a lot of them, they have their own work, their own line of works, that some of them, they actually didn't know that they like acting until that they become part of my films. But some of them actually, after had acted in my films and realized that this is not something that I want to do, so therefore they, of course, they won't participate in my the subsequent films. So again, to me, I think there's some continuity, but at the same time, also there are some people they just because it's not something that they would like to do, so they disappear. But definitely, most of the protagonists that I have in my movies, I have changed quite a bit from movie to movie.
这也是一个比较烦恼的事情。比如说这个片子小芬，她从小长得很漂亮，大家都说你可以做明星，成为章子怡这样的。那么我就用她来演了，她在参加之前是很感兴趣的，然后参加完以后，她发现其实她并不是很喜欢，虽然观众很喜欢她，她现在就是在卖一些衣服什么的。
So for example, this is something that I have to struggle with. For example, the main female lead, Xiaofen, in this particular movie, she looks very pretty, and people are saying that she looks like Zhang Ziyi. She has a great future in filmmaking, in the film industry. But actually, after she had made this film, she realized that this is not something that she would like to do. So right now, she's actually selling clothes somewhere in China.
Yeah. You know, I thought the film was remarkable, and at the same time, it's such a kind of relentlessly bleak picture of China. I'm kind of wondering, has it caused any problems for you? I know that obviously prior filmmakers have had a lot of issues with censorship, or you know, the government refusing to allow films to travel and be represented that show China in this kind of a light. So. Looks like yes.
是这样的，就是3CCF 对于那些就是说想投入比较高的、成本比较高的电影，它会有作用。那些人投入了钱嘛，就没有办法，就是说想在按照它的规则走的话，应该是就是剧本写完就给他们去3CCF，写完以后拍完还要给他看，能不能通过。 是这样的，这是一个普通的规则。
So generally speaking, in terms of censorship in China, especially for those films that has very high budget, and of course after you have finished the script.
很高，就可能是比如说10万到20万美元的这样的，其实不高的成本的电影。 但是他就已经这些老板就肯定想要去接受审查。
So around 100,000 or 200,000 as a budget, they will consider this as a high budget movies. Then therefore, after the script is completed, then you will send it to the government for censorship, and they will censor it and somehow make sure that it's been approved. And then later on, after you finish the shooting, then you have to submit it again for censorship. And so that's in general. What has been done.
那作为我来讲，没有这方面的考虑吧。就是从拍第一个片子到现在，我都不想和他们发生任何关系，我只想做我自己的事情而已。
So I don't really have to worry about that. Oh, this is not really my concern, just because I have a very low budget, and I really don't want to deal anything with the government's censorship.